Honda and Ivan Muller.
At least it was until qualifying.
It was.
When Ivan had a decent qualifying, he'll start here in 8th place, 3rd on the grid for the main race. Thiago Monteiro, though, you won't have seen his name yet because he starts in 14th place for both races. Or 15th, isn't it? Huffy and Monteiro, 14th and 15th, yeah, so 14th, Rob Huffy in 15th. Disastrous qualifying for the two Castrol Hondas. So a lot of work for Thiago to do, and Ivan, in what will be his 248th World Touring Car start, could go a long way to tying up that runners-up spot. Roger Copeland's Volvo halfway up the top 10 for the opening race here in China. And Volvo, who have struggled in wet conditions, struggle a little bit on street circuits and struggle to carry success ballast, now back down to 0 kilos of ballast, down to their designed minimum weight. And whether that's a happy coincidence or whether this modern racing styles circuits, the Grand Prix circuit here in Shanghai, just suits the chassis better, I suppose only Volvo will know, and even then they may not be entirely sure, but they are back punching at their weight at the front of the field, which is always good news.
Yeah, weight is such a massive factor, Martin, and they started the season really well, but they put on a little bit of weight through the season, brought it off and put it on again. They have gone through a real doldrum of performance in the middle of, and nobody knows why. You go and speak to them and they don't know why, and so but they are back with a bang. Yes, they are substantially lighter than the Hondas and the Citroens, but so are the Ladas and so are the Chevys, and the Volvos have been right up there. They didn't really exploit their performance that they had in free practice in qualifying. You know, the promise, they were sort of threatening the front row of the grid, and for whatever reason, it never came in when the pressure came on.
We see this with Lada, don't we, is that their qualifying pace is barely any better than their race pace, and that's definitely the case with Volvo as well, whereas some of the others, and Citroën notably, can produce actually quite a lot more. Alex Le Gui down there with Norbert Mikulits. Let's see if she has got a chance to have a chat with him. John Philippi, great qualifying run from him. Really strong in second free practice. He was second quickest in the Oscaro Chevrolet. Got himself into the top 10, so he's starting the opening race of the weekend on the DHL pole. Well, that's not the first time he's been a pole sitter. The real problem for him is he's got Citroens behind him, he's got the Volvos behind him, he's got the Ladas behind him, all aggressive, experienced drivers, and all with ostensibly quicker cars as well. So for him not to get swallowed up into the pack, he's going to have to do a really good job.
Yeah, it's going to be... he put in a good lap for himself, which has obviously got him the reverse grid for this opener. His race pace is unproven, so he's rung a bit of a lap out of it in qualifying, but he's definitely going to be the cork in the bottle.
I mean, look at the experience around him on the grid. He's got Norby alongside, he's got Tom Chilton, he's got two Volvos lined up behind, Gabriele Tarquini, and that's before we get to Muller and Lopez.
It's a shame it's not one of the tighter street circuits, because then he would be a real cork, and we'd have to see some proper scrapping amongst them, some street fighting. But
although remember what happened to Tomo in Marrakesh, he just got shunted out of the lead.
Yeah, but I mean, Shanghai, it's big, wide open spaces, a lot of slipstreaming, so overtaking shouldn't be an issue here. So as you say, I think we will see him swallowed up back into the pack fairly rapido.
If he's still leading at the end of lap 1, I'll be surprised. Not because he can't drive and not because he can't race, but because as soon as he gets onto the back straight with anybody close to him, they're just going to go
Let's have a wager.
Who
would you punt that's going to be leading at the end of lap 1? I would say...
I think Norby.
I think Norby.
If Norby gets a good start, gets in front of Philippi, and Philippi can hold off Chilton and the rest for 5 or 6 corners before they get to the straight, I think Norby's away.
I would say Gabriele from
5th on the grid.
From the third row.
Yeah, from 5th on the grid. Gabriele might well be 3rd place.
He's aggressive. If he sniffs a win, he'll go for it.
Well, if this is the way that the actual race start pans out, then that will be very good for me, as Norby moves away from his grid spot a little bit quicker than John Philippi. Final formation lap then to get the cars to the grid. It's a good opportunity as well for Volvo to try and put a car on the podium. They've got Fredrik Ekblom starting 4th, Ted Björk starting 6th, and then they will reverse those positions. Björk will be 4th and Ekblom 6th in the main race. Of course, to get onto the podium, they not only have to get ahead of stay ahead of factory Citroens in this race, but they have to get ahead of Tom Chilton and Gabriele Tarquini as well, and that's by no means guaranteed. Let's hear from Nicky Katzberg on this final formation lap.
Getting ready for race 1 here at the Shanghai International Circuit. Warm-up lap, trying to get some temperature in the tires, feeling as everything is okay, warm up the brakes, warm up the tires. Yeah, going to be an important race. In race 2 I'm starting from P2, so this race I just need to survive, try to score some points, but my main focus will be on race 2, of course. I'm starting in the Citroën sandwich, and I hope I have less issues with them as I had in Motegi. But that should be okay, and like I said, focus on race 2. Yeah, for the rest, this track is very demanding on the front tires. So in the race it's going to be a lot about preserving the front tires. A couple of very long corners, which are just killing the front tires. So we need to pace ourselves in the beginning and try to preserve the tires to be fast at the end of the race. This weekend we have less weight, which also means the weight distribution is changed a little bit, which means that preserving the tires could be a little bit harder this weekend, but I'm going to try my best. I hope you will cheer for me. This was Nick Katzberg.
Leads the field to the grid. And for his family, that is a very good phrase to be hearing. Cars on the grid, anxious faces in the pit garages, waiting for the start of the opening race here at Shanghai in China. Races 19 and 20 of the FIA World Touring Car Championship. John Philippi, the pole man, receiving tuition and motivation, mentoring from Ivan Muller, who will start back in 8th place on the grid. But Philippi on the DHL pole, ahead of Norbert Mikulits in the white, grey and red Honda. Then Tom Chilton and Fredrik Ekblom, the blue Volvo on row 2. Gabriele Tarquini and Ted Björk, the other blue Volvo on row 3. Green flag waves at the back of the grid. The field is complete. Revs rise, clutches at biting point, handbrakes on, and away we go. Good start from Norbert Mikulits, good start from Tom Chilton, and John Philippi bogs down. Very good start indeed from Tom Chilton. Tarquini's ahead of the Volvos. He is into 3rd place, and it is Norby who leads from Chilton into turn 1. John Philippi already down to 4th or 5th position. He's got a Volvo inside him. Matt Neal, exactly the start he did not want there, and maybe he was just a little nervous.
I think he was trying to be cautious, but it was a stellar start from Chilton. He almost got the overlap on. Oh, there's a little bit of contact back there. Oh, even more
couple
contact.
Of Citroens, Bernani, and it looked like Muller. And
could be Katzberg who's in the wars there.
Maybe Katzberg will be on the radio already.
Has to be careful because that Lada is quite fragile when they start bumping into it, and he's around the Citroens, which are like the old Audis and Alphas back in Super Touring days, when they're built like Sherman tanks. You just can't get into a fight with them.
It was Muller who got by Ekblom and Katzberg. Katzberg was the Lada involved, and so Muller is already up between Ekblom and Ted Björk, who's the pale blue car in front of him, looking back at Ekblom, Katzberg and the rest. And in fact, you can see Lopez is shuffled by Bernani as well. So they're taking no prisoners with the independent Citroen racers, are they, the factory guys? Mikulits, Chilton, then the yellow cars, Tarquini, dark blue Philippi, and the second of the Volvos, Ted Björk, Fredrik Ekblom rather, towing up behind Ivan Muller down the straight. And you can see Ted Björk flashing the headlights at John Philippi, coming through, down the inside. Muller's defending hard, and Ekblom will go by Philippi there, has to take a little bit of the racing room.
Yeah, Ekblom being quite hard on Philippi going through there. But there's a couple of ones here. Chilton needs a good haul of points over Bernani to stop Bernani really getting a hold of this independence title. And as I say, Muller wants to make hay while the sun shines, while Montero's stuck down the back for that second place.
Absolutely. Well, he's got 2 shots at it here, hasn't he? In the second race for Muller, he will be starting on row 2. Montero will still be back in 14th place. On board with Ivan. Now, this is his young protege, John Philippi. However, he will heave him out the way. You can see Philippi's car is quite loose. He's understeering, oversteering all the way through to the apex there. Desperately trying to hang on.
He's still in looks a little bit in panic mode. He needs to just calm himself down and just sort of settle into a rhythm. But these other guys know that, and they'll be pressuring him hard.
He's sort of shoved in at the front of the field, isn't he, amongst drivers who have got much more experience than he. And there was one of the Castrol Hondas way back there, just ahead of James Thompson. So who's dropped back? Was that Huff? It was Huff. Huffy is right back there. Montero is further back in the queue. Tom Coronel pulling out of the queue, already maybe thinking about cooling brakes. So who has Huff had a little contretemps with? Cameras are focusing on Mehdi Bernani.
I will try to continue. There's a big vibration. Copy that.
Okay, well, we saw both Ivan Muller and Jose Maria Lopez getting their elbows out and racing wheel to wheel. As you said, the Citroens have got this fairly Audi-like indestructibility about them, but you can see that he's got damage on the left rear. Nicky Katzberg having a run on Ivan Muller, trying to go the long way round the outside. And Fredrik Ekblom trying to go the long way around the outside of John Philippi. Neither of those worked, but here comes Lopez behind. He got a really good run out of the final corner, but Matt, he's going to be on the outside line. He's not going to get both of these guys, is he?
Yeah, it depends whether Philippi's going. Yeah, Philippi's defending. Lopez is going wide, but he's losing the rear end on the way in.
Yeah, but he's still going to get them both. Philippi makes contact with Ekblom, and through goes...
No, it's Valente, isn't it?
Valente, yes. So the Lada picks up 3 places. Lopez didn't get through. Ekblom got by Philippi, and I think Lopez has got by Philippi as well, who has spun out now. The stewards will look at that. John Philippi needs to get the car restarted. Is it down at the left front?
I think that was Ekblom getting into the back of Philippi, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was in the side. And then
pushed him wide into Lopez.
He was in the side of Philippi's car. Well, meanwhile, Norber Mikulis leads. Tom Chilton in second. Gabriele Tarquini in third, and Mehdi Bernani came across the line in 13th. Now, that's not no points, because in the independence, he's actually still in 4th place. And this is Tom Chilton's problem here. He can be a dozen places in front, but it's not about where the factory drivers are.
Good scrap going on there between Demoustier and Tomo.
Yeah, that's not helping Chilton either, because both of those are independents, and actually, he needs Demoustier and or Tomo to get in front of Bernani, and as many others as possible to get in front of Bernani. So Gregoire Demoustier was behind.
Oh, Philippi's out. This is going to be a safety car, I would have thought.
I think the left front corner is possibly broken. The car doesn't look like it's sitting altogether square on the road, and he's either got a transmission breakage or a broken wheel or something, suspension. Safety car is out, and that means that Norber Mikulis now is going to be a little bit in the shooting gallery, with Tom Chilton behind him and Gabriele Tarquini in third. So the field will close back up, and that means Lopez then closes onto the back of the 4th place Volvo of Ted Björk. But then he will have 2 lightweight Ladas behind, Katzberg and Valente. Katzberg won't be taking too many chances. Field now closes up behind the safety car. So let's take a look again at the start. John Philippi on the right-hand side of the grid as we look down at them, and just too much wheel spin. Matt, you can see the big black marks he left, and just not judging it quite right.
Just looked a slow reaction time as well, Martin. Then, but the guys around him are notoriously good starters.
Yep.
So Chilton just a bit unlucky to get shuffled out by Michelitz there, but.
Yeah, as the lights change,
he's just slow.
Yeah, maybe a fraction. And actually, do you know what? I think it wasn't too much Wilson. I think he nearly lost the engine. I think it was almost the opposite. He was too tentative and it bogged down, and then he had to go again, because you're right, he really didn't move, did he? Nicky Katzberg, whose sole concern is to keep the car alive. Well, there's the incident with Philippi.
Yeah,
broken wheel, look at that, shattered. So the drive shaft will be popped out. The suspension isn't in one piece either. Oh, we're going to see that. Oh, my word.
That's a good hit into the
side
Lopez's
of the
car. Has really been getting some love in this opening couple of laps, isn't it?
Well, let's hear what Thiago Monteiro has to say. He's in 11th place, still out of the points.
There's a lot of steering wheel locks compared to before. I had a little bit of a touch at the back, and turning right I have quite a lot of oversteering. I don't know if it's from the touch or not, but I hope there is an investigation, because there was a lot of cuts, at least 3 or 4 cars.
Well, do you know what? Thiago hasn't started that far down in the pack for a very long while. I think he might have forgotten just how rumbustious it gets when you're sort of below the top 8.
It surprised me how rough the Volvos were being in that opening lap.
Well, I think they feel that they've got an opportunity to produce some results here, and maybe they feel they need to. Safety car leads the field round as John Philippi, the DHL pole sitter, has his broken Chevy recovered from the track. I think the lights will go off on the safety car when he comes onto the back straight here, because where Philippi walked away from the car, I think there was a suitable gap in the wall to tow the car behind. It was already being hooked up onto a rescue vehicle. So vigorously waved yellows. He'll be starting 10th, but as you say, getting the car back is one thing. It might arrive in the pits before the start of race 2. Certainly not going to be time to do anything more than change the wheel. Look at the side of Lopez's car.
No, I don't feel the same. I'm worried about the car, because I don't know if I continue with this revolution again. If I go down with the car, it's the only worry. Then it's not too safe for me.
Okay, carry on. If things are going a lot worse, you go.
They are really bad already. I don't think they're going to get any worse.
Yeah, you can see he's got a lot of vibration coming back through.
That was like driving over a cattle grid, wasn't it? And he's doing no speed. What are they doing? 40 miles an hour. Lights are off on the safety car. We'll go green this time round. And so Norbert Mikulits backing the field up. Here we go, down to the hairpin at turn 14 of this 16-corner circuit. Norbert Mikulits, Tom Chilton and Gabriele Tarquini are already going. We've gone green. As they get out of the final corner, we'll be racing once more. So 2 laps added to the race distance. Originally 14, now 16 laps. So those 2 laps that we lost to the safety car effectively have not been lost in racing terms. Mikulits leads, Chilton, Tarquini, that's your top 3. Then the first of the Volvos is Ted Björk, who came from 6th on the grid to get in front of teammate Fredrik Ekblom. So Björk up to 4th, Muller 5th from 8th on the grid, Katzberg 6th from 9th on the grid. Katzberg, this is really tough for a racing driver, Matt. I mean, you're in this situation every single weekend where you've got 3 races. You slightly have to compromise what you can do in race 1 and in race 2, because you've got to make race 3. And Katzberg's going to be 2nd on the grid in our main race here.
Yeah, I was just looking with Muller sat there in 5th with Katzberg, a light Katzberg on his tail. His big problem now moving forward is he's got Björk in the Volvo and Tarquini in one of the other Ladas, both on 0 kilos, and Ivan's carrying 80 kilos. So to try and move forward, that's going to be really hard work for him now.
Yeah. Well, Katzberg's got Valenti behind him, and then he's got the vibrating. As little battle between
Thiago's
Thiago
not giving up
Monteiro.
On this title fight.
No, he hasn't. He gets by Mehdi Banani. Now that doesn't help Tom Chilton either, but the car behind, Greg Demoustier, and the car behind that, James Thompson, the black and white Chevrolet, if they can get into grips with Banani and shuttle him 2 independence points down.
I'll tell you what, that Honda's not short of straight line speed now.
Yeah, but look at Bernani hoovering him up. In fact, that was Huff, not Thiago Montero.
Oh, right,
so,
yeah.
But Huffy got shuffled down the order early on.
Made a bit of a mistake there. What happened? Oh, Thiago's a bit further up the road.
So Huff restarted in 13th, Bernani in 12th, and Rob got by him. Big slide there from Tom Coronel over the curbs out of the final corner. That's going to make him slow. And here comes Fredrik Ekblom. This is the battle for 8th place. 9th place behind Lopez, maybe. And there is Huff, the first of those 4 cars, being followed by Bernani, then de Moustier and Thompson. Now, Bernani gets to wheel-to-wheel contact with Huff and ends up getting himself into trouble and losing ground, then that will really help Chilton. Chilton at the moment scoring maximum points in the Independence Trophy, but only Tom Coronel is between him and Mehdi Bernani, so Bernani is scoring points for 3rd. That's not enough of an advantage for Chilton. No matter how hard he works, there aren't enough Indies in front of Bernani.
Ooh, nice little
big slide from Bernani.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure which was giving up more there. The front was definitely giving up. You could see it understeering like a pig through the corner, and then the back started to oversteer wildly, and that's the rotation they're looking for, except you want it to kill the understeer before you've ploughed halfway through the turn.
Yeah, and for the likes of Bernani and the other Citroen runners, it's unlike British touring cars where the weight is done in your championship position and you lose it after race 1. And it's reverted to the results of race 1. And these guys have to carry it all weekend.
Yep.
Oh, Tarquini going for a move on Chilton.
And Chilton gets to the corner first. Tarquini was just sort of halfway attacking, halfway defending, wasn't he? I think he went for the inside line because Ted Björk is so close in the Volvo. Now, Varmuller has pulled a little away from Nicky Katzberg. I think if it all falls into Katzberg's lap because a couple of cars tangle, he'll take that. Right now, he's more about getting the points in race 2, getting onto the podium, putting the Lada back in a podium position. I mean, even if Katzberg got by Muller and got by Ted Björk, he'd need a bazooka to get by Gabriele Tarquini, even though Tarquini's his teammate. While there's breath in his body, Gabriele is not giving away a podium position.
Yeah,
but he's not, is he?
Tarquini does look vulnerable.
Yeah.
He does look vulnerable. He's definitely having a sniff at a fair few places.
Yeah, but then you see, that's possibly because Gabriele keeps attacking Chilton as well. And Norby is just gradually creeping away, isn't he?
Yeah,
Chilton's not attacking Norby, he can't get to him.
Chilton Citroen is great under brakes, and that Lada looks, you know, we saw it with Valente yesterday in free practice. The Lada is a proper handful in the braking zones.
Except, of course, the Citroen takes slightly longer to brake and slightly longer to accelerate, and so Tarquini is now feeling he's been held up by Chilton, isn't he? And he's got that wretched Volvo in the mirrors the whole time, so Gabriele is the meat in the sandwich, and that's quite dangerous for him. He's going to have to get assertive to get by Chilton. Vibration or not, Jose Maria Lopez is now starting to close the gap to the Ladas in front of him. Norbert Mikulits leads, Tom Chilton second. The yellow Lada, Gabriele Tarquini again under pressure from Ted Björk in the blue Volvo. And Björk again flashing the headlights into the first corner, into the 14th corner rather, down at the end of the main straight. Can't get through there, but they have been caught by Ivan Muller, who is now all over the back of them. So there's Muller's red car, you just see the tail of it. Then the 2 Ladas, Katzberg pulling away now, the first of the yellow Ladas from Valente. Montero and Huff, how have they got so close? How has Thiago dropped all the way back down into almost being passed by his teammate, Rob Huff? He was quite a long way in front in terms of the amount of real estate between them.
That's not Thiago going backwards, that's Huffy coming forwards.
Well, Huffy is taking that error out of him at the end of the front straight, sneaks by him, so Thompson moves into 3rd place, fourth place rather, in the Independence. Now let's see whether James Thompson can move up and challenge Mehdi Bernani, who should be in front of him on the road, but he is a few car lengths in front. He's about 1.5 seconds away. Björk again showing his nose. Is he having a look? Is he trying to force a mistake out of Tarquini? Is he trying to cool the car down? Mistake by Chilton. Tarquini goes alongside him, and through goes Björk for second. And there goes Muller. Now, has he gone through for third? He has. And Tarquini into the pits.
Tarquini's out, and looks like Chilton's out.
Chilton into the pits as well. Chilton's chance of closing down the gap to Mehdi Banani went very wrong there under braking.
No, I reckon with if Banani scores well now and Chilton doesn't, I mean, Banani could wrap this up.
Well, Coronel is going to score maximum points at the moment in the Independence Trophy, and Banani will score second place points unless Thompson gets by him, and even if he does, it'll be third place points. So Tarquini and Chilton, oh dear. Right, we need to see that again, don't we? I was just looking down at my timing screen when it all broke loose.
But you're going on about vibration in Montero's car and all the rest of it, but we've seen how Lopez is trying to hang on to that Citroen, but he did set the fastest lap of anybody last lap.
I tell you what, he's going to have, you know that thing that they get off pneumatic drills, what they call it, white finger, where the vibration stops your circulation. He's going to have that. Here we go, okay.
No one touches him.
No, he locks up.
He locks up, runs wide, Tarquini goes for it, and then does he...
And
well,
it's a bit the way that Björk elbowed his way by, isn't it? He's trying to come back off being out very wide on the curb to get the door shut, and Gabrielli
hard to tell, and that larder is fragile.
And Gabrielli's using the parabola to go all the way around. Yeah. I'm afraid Tom was trying to come back on, and Gabrielli was trying not to let him, and immovable force meets immutable object.
That looks...
I think Gabrielli may not make race 2.
Pretty rubber-ducked.
Yeah. So he's got 5 laps of the race to get the car fixed before they have to stop working.
Now, with Björk with some clear air in front of me, can he make any inroads into Michelit's?
Oh, yeah, but look who's third. Look who's third in his 148th World Touring Car start. Ivan Muller in third place, and he is much closer to Björk's Volvo than Björk is to the Honda of Norby Mikelic. Norby scoring his first win of the season in Japan, and he said, I'm not about points now, it's not about championship positions, that's all, yeah, whatever, I just want to win races. And I think he's in a really good place now to try and do that.
Banani just seems to have woken up at the back. He seems to have been asleep for the first third of the race.
I wonder whether the car somehow has managed to manage its tyres better than the Hondas. I mean, it looks like an ugly handful, doesn't it? It's plough on understeer, and then just when that's got terminal, suddenly the back snaps round on him.
Yeah, the Citroen does seem to be, Banani does seem to be able to place the Citroen wherever he wants to.
Maybe it's just got more tyre left. I'm not quite sure how, but maybe it has. Fredrik Ekblom shuffled a long way down the order, hasn't he?
Right, then Björk's took 0.6 of a second out of Michelit's on that last lap, so it's definitely game on with 5 laps to go.
Yeah, but he's 2 seconds behind Norby, and Ivan is 2 car lengths behind him.
Yeah. I reckon the Volvo, he smells a win here.
The problem is, the moment he has a lunge at Norby and it doesn't work, Muller will be straight by like a rat up a drain pipe.
Muller doesn't need to win, he just needs strong points for that second place when the Volvo do need a win.
Whatever. Muller is a racing driver, he can't stop himself trying to take that position. He'll really have to give himself a good talking to. Norby Mikelic leads the race. The other 2 Hondas, Thiago Montero and Rob Huff, are struggling to stay in 11th and 12th positions ahead of Mehdi Banani in the Sebastian Loeb Racing Citroen. You saw Rob Huff running very wide there. That puts him under increasing pressure. Banani, despite having a car that almost looks like it's on ice in the early parts of the race, he's got more grip, hasn't he? He just can't get by, and now Thompson is right with him, and Tomo's a wily old fox. He will know that the moment Banani has a little stab at Huff and has the door slammed in his face, Tomo will go by.
Yeah, just like a fox. If he sees any scraps, he's going to pick them up and go for it.
Huff holding off Mehdi Banani. James Thompson in what now, his 6th race weekend for René Munich's team. Not quite sure what René's plans are next year, but it would be wonderful if, as a benefactory gesture, he entered the car for Tomo for the season. I think a little bit of testing over the winter, a bit more development maybe in the car or even in the setup, and Tomo, I think, could be right back at him again. Thiago Montero, Rob Huff just easing away from Banani.
Quick update from up the front, another 3/10 out of Michelitz for Bjorg. Muller a bit status quo behind, so if anyone's going to have a go, it's the Volvo, I'm telling you.
Yeah, Muller is going with Bjorg, isn't he? So as the gap closes, it's not just about the blue car, it's blue car, red car.
I bet a few laps back, Michelitz thought he'd got this in the bag, but...
Please try to be faster on sector 1.
Not possible.
Okay, because Bjorn behind you is gaining between 3 and 5 tenths every single sector 1.
Well, you know, I think Norby possibly knows where Bjork is faster.
Bjork, I mean, Michelitz has just got to keep it tight. I mean, but he can't afford to make a single mistake now because Bjork's going to be on him.
Here comes the swap between Huff and Montero. For Montero, it doesn't make a difference. He's not in the points yet. Buffy
having to be super defensive out the back. Gabrielli's just going out for...
to check the car over. Now, that's very good news, though. It does mean that...
No, Huffy's through.
Doesn't mean that it wasn't busted suspension. Yeah, Huff was always going through there, I think. I think Thiago was just trying desperately not to lose any more ground than was strictly necessary. I'm sure that was organised on the radio beforehand, that Thiago was going to let him by, but he can't afford to lift even for an instant in front of Banani, or Banani would just follow through the gap that Thiago left for Rob.
Yeah, but that's going to cost him points.
No, it won't, because they're not in the points.
Yes, they are. They're in the top 10 now, Martin.
Oh, Huff's in 10th.
Huff's in 9th.
Oh, no, Huff's in 9th and Montero's in 10th. Maybe he's just accepted that he is holding Rob up.
Well...
And it's interesting, of course, because Rob is 4th in the standings behind Thiago, but he is 11 points back. He was, he's now 10 points back. Here comes the battle for the lead. Norbert Michelisz and Ted Björk. Evening race here in China. He's got 3 laps to get it done. This is 13 of 16.
Yeah, don't forget this Volvo is 60 kilos lighter than the Honda, so...
Yep.
You can hear Michelin's just struggling to get the power down a bit there, a bit of wheel spin out the hairpin.
And that's all part of it, isn't it? 60 kilos lighter on its toes, so that's 2 secondary school-aged children sitting in the back of the Honda.
Look at the Volvo pulling in down in the slipstream.
And here we go, having a little look at the inside, and Norby's car very loose as he tried to turn in desperately late. Just clings on, and Ivan is right there as well. Norby is possibly going to lose 2 places here. The longer he defends, the more likely that is to happen.
Now, what Norby's going to do now is he's going to, if he can hold Bjorg up, then he can let Muller have a crack at Bjorg, and then see if he can use that as a bit of a getaway.
Yeah, but if you're Ivan, you're just going to go, come on, Ted, get the door open. You use the Volvo, don't you, to leave Norby offside, and then you go straight through.
As long as he's got belief that the Volvo is going to have a go.
Well, he knows the Volvo is going to have a go. He's already seen him have a good go into the first corner. And what comes up next, after the next left-hander and right-hander, is the long straight. And there Ivan and Ted Björk will tow up behind Norbert Michelisz, and they will probably both tuck him up like a kipper under braking. Björk will certainly have a go.
Björk just needs to position himself for the main slipstreaming of chances.
Now, the real problem for Ivan might possibly be the yellow thing coming up behind him. Look how much closer Nicky Katzberg is getting. And then behind him is Lopez. Lopez with the car that looked like it was about to shed all its components. Here's the battle for the lead, though. Björk will have to take to the grass to go by Michelisz on the inside. Is he going to be able to get round the outside? Norby being very robust in defence. Come on, you'd expect him to do that. You've got to try and make...
No, that's bad form, that is. That's moving over into on the braking area on him like that, pushing him out.
Well, he's moving on to the racing line. OK, so Björk didn't get by, so now he knows what the deal is. You've got to make it clean, you've got to make it absolutely undefendable against. Wasn't close enough to have a look into turn 1, but this is where he's all over the Honda.
Björk's got to make a move soon. He's going to run out of time. This first sector is where he's strong, so he's got to try and make it count around here.
Ted Björk can just see the win waiting to happen. Whatever.
Yeah, see, I told you.
Yeah.
Is in.
Yeah, Norby won't care if he's been warned about driving standards if he wins the race. But look at the way that the Honda is struggling to get back to the apex of the corner.
Yeah, Michelis has got a chance of hauling something out the bag here because Honda have been having a wretched weekend so far. You know, he's got this off the reverse grid, but he's still got a chance of the win.
The other two are in the points. Rob Huff 9th, Thiago Monteiro 10th. And that's been a really hard work run for them. Is Ivan Muller going to spoil Ted Björk's efforts?
Have Volvo managed to win a race this year?
Not yet.
I don't think they'll get a better chance than this.
The black and white flag, you got the black and white flag warning.
Well, this time Ted Björk is not close enough to have a lunge at Norbert Michelis. Or is he just keeping his powder dry? Lets Norby go and cover the inside. Now Ted's got to somehow try and cut back underneath him. He's not quite close enough, and Norby makes the apex of the first part of the tight right-hand hairpin, and here comes Ivan Muller. Well, Ivan's going to be hung out to dry on the outside. That's really not going to happen there unless Björk suddenly lifted off and let him go by. And then Katzberg and Lopez. Now, don't forget, Muller, Katzberg, Lopez, that's 3-2-1 on our main race grid, with Pachito due to start from pole. William de Brecquelaire and the rest of the Honda Brains Trust watching with 2 to go as Norby, I beg your pardon, 1 to go as Norby still holds on from Ted Björk. So our timing screen is a lap behind. Now it's finally caught up. 15 laps completed. It's telling us 14, and through comes Katzberg on Muller. Come on, Nicky, you're supposed to be starting the main race from second on the grid. You need a car that's in one piece. Katzberg, Muller and Lopez, that could all go horribly pear-shaped for somebody very quickly on the final lap. This is not a time to lose focus. Katzberg won't want to let Lopez by, but he might not have an option.
Yeah, they're all having to watch forwards and backwards right at the same time, aren't they?
Well, Björk isn't, is he? It's a 2-horse race now, and 1 braking area, turn 14. This is Katzberg, fully on the curbs, fully committed inside Ivan, giving Ivan a bit of proper touring car racing love there.
Michelis has got this.
Yeah.
He's got Björk covered.
I feel he has, and that's a shame, actually, because it would be great to have Volvo win a race, but Norby does he have enough? What can Ted Björk pull out here? Here we go, look at this, look at this, look at this! He picks up and knocks a bit of bodywork off the back, and that's right into the front of Katzberg's car, just what he didn't want. Ted Björk on the inside. Don't show us that, show us the race, thank you. And he makes sure that Norby can't come back at him as he uses the I'm going right. And he's broken his left rear suspension. Can Ted Björk win the race? 2 broken cars. This is like Monza, where Prio came through to win in front of Huff and Tarquini. Björk is going to win with a broken car. Where is the line? There it is. Ted Björk wins for Volvo with 3 wheels on his wagon.
Well, you wouldn't have wanted that to last a corner longer, would you? If you're in the Volvo garage.
Wow. Well, that's tough on Norby, but he was being eaten alive by the pace of the Volvo. Further back, Grégoire de Moustier just holding on in front of Ferenc Fischer.
Oh, Martin, I hope that doesn't overheat Katzberg's engine and do anything for his race 2 start.
Well, again, luckily,
because look, he's still cruising
around.
Yeah,
I know, but he's got to cruise around to like 0 miles an hour. But even then, yeah, he almost needs to stop. I'm not sure he's aware that that is there, but the team need to tell him, stop, let it drop off, and then drive on. Ted Björk wins for Volvo. That is a race-long battle of attrition with Norbert Michelis. And do you know what? I think he might just be a little bit happy with that.
Martin, he had to win that.
Yeah.
You know, with this, if he didn't, he'd have been looking for a drive at the end of the weekend, because
Well, don't you know
with
what?
the speed differential they got, the Volvo over the Honda.
But if he didn't, if Norby had somehow managed to defend there, then everybody would have gone, what great defending by Norby. You know, even with the speed advantage, the Volvo couldn't get by. But there you go. That is the first win in FIA World Touring Car Championship racing ever for Volvo, and Ted Bjerg has got a broken car. Swedish jubilation and Dutch disappointment. Now, Nicky Katsberg has stopped the larder, and I wonder whether it has stopped itself. Nicky
That
is
could be
just saying,
terminal, Martin.
I can't go. Yeah, that is not a happy Dutchman, is it? I wonder whether it has terminally overheated the larder, that bit of bodywork for a third
That will make
of a lap.
big difference.
Yeah.
That will make a big difference.
Massive difference. Ted Bjerg wins with a broken car. Norbert Mikulich second with a broken car. Ivan Muller third. Jose Maria Lopez in fourth. Got by Katsberg on the run to the line. Didn't spot that. So Katsberg finished fifth and may not start the main race. Tarquini down in 16th after contact with Tom Chilton. They won't be having a Valant Katsberg moment, I don't think, shouting at each other.
I am absolutely delighted to present to you the winner of the opening race here, World Touring Car Championship, Shanghai International Circuit, is Ted Bjerg. Congratulations. What a battle with you and Norby. Talk us through it.
Yeah, it was absolutely amazing to drive the car today, and you can imagine the feeling. It was such a good, nice, balanced car which I had, so I could start fight with him, and he didn't make life easy. But it was, I think, a really nice fight there. I'm just so happy.
What was going through your head from the beginning? Because you were like chasing. It wasn't until that final lap. What happened?
No, but I tried, and my only focus was to chase him, you know, and just focus and go doing the best I can. And then when I get closer, I just thought of some overtaking. He closed the door really well on the straight, so I had to do the last lap. I just go whatever it takes with the tires just to take him.
Congratulations, well done.
Well, wherever it took. Last lap lunge, that was a classic last lap lunge, wasn't it? Everybody knew that was where it was most likely to happen. Norby knew, we knew, Ted knew,
It
but
wasn't a lunge at all. He just drafted past him down the straight.
yeah.
Well, just grunt and wait.
And went round the outside. And again, that's you know, a great indication of how good the Volvo is down at that base weight, and what that weight disadvantage meant for Norby. As we saw early on in the race, the Honda's perhaps using its tyres.
Yeah, for sure the weight
harder on its
has a
tyres.
big bearing, but the Honda's been not a good thing all weekend, is it? I mean, they've had a wretched weekend so far, and just shows where the two Castrol cars are and the two Zenga Motorsport cars. But hopefully they can sort something else in race two.
So the first win for a Swedish driver in the World Touring Car Championship since 2008. Victory by Rickard Rydell in the Seats when that was a 5-car factory team. And the first ever win for Volvo in World Touring Car racing. And you know what? I'm sure at the beginning of the season, they had hoped that they might be winning races before the end of it. There have been times where they were starting to question whether they would ever get back into the top 5. But once the weight has come off the car and we're back at a slightly more traditional circuit, then that has really worked for them. And Ted Bjerg really made all the moves, made all the running. Fredrik Ekblom got a little bit shuffled out at the beginning. And Ted Bjerg had what it took, the car and the determination. And that's the result. Long time since we've heard, in fact, we've never heard the Swedish anthem on the podium, because we will have done for the driver, won't we? But not for the manufacturer. So first ever win for Volvo.
Yeah, first ever win, Swede.
Yep, Swedish driver and